Hello everyone, welcome to Oliveboard. So today we have with us Vishal, and Vishal is a 99.92 percentile in CAT 2021. So congratulations first of all with Vishal. And going ahead, first I would like to introduce yourself to viewers. So we will start with the introduction.
Thank you, Prashant. Yeah, so this was my second time giving CAT, and I'm a 2020 batch graduate from RV College in Bangalore, and I worked at GE Healthcare for 1 year, and now I'm working at Intel since another year. So I started preparing seriously for CAT this year around April, May that time, and I've prepared for about 8 to 9 months.
Okay. So you basically started 8 or 9 months back, right?
Yeah.
And you are basically a computer engineer currently working, right?
Yeah, I have graduated in with my specialization in computer science.
Okay. So when was your first time that you think of doing an MBA and you started to think about CAT, that you will be giving CAT?
Yeah, so during my final year, I had no idea about management. So I wanted to get a software engineer job in one of the good companies that come to my college placements.
Okay.
So I got it in my 7th semester. I started working at GE Healthcare, and there, I got to work on a few projects, where we had to interact with customers and come up with some user stories and other customer-based user stories. So we had to collect data from them and complete that entire product lifecycle. So this got me interested more into the management side and putting up that product roadmap and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
That time, I started to look into other options from there. So I researched about MBA in India and in abroad, and I felt like since I lacked the basic management knowledge also, right? So I felt MBA in India was a better option for my profile specifically.
Okay, so it was only during the work that you realized that you need an MBA, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you given a CAT last year also, right? So we will talk about that. How did you prepare last time? What was your strategy, and how like this time you scored really high and not like this in last time? So what made the difference? Like if talking about last attempt, so how did you prepare last time?
Yeah, so last time I researched actually about the programs, colleges, and placements basically. And I knew I wanted to take up a product manager role after my MBA. And I found that it's better to have at least 2 years of experience for that. So I wanted to give like a trial run of CAT in 2020, preparing the best I could with what time I had in hand, and then focus seriously for 2021. And if things didn't go well this year, I was ready to give it next year also. So I had other options also in mind. And coming specifically to last year's preparation, I prepared for about 5 to 6 months. And I did all the usual work. Like I studied my concepts, I took mocks, and I gave the previous year's papers. So I was ready, but not completely ready.
Okay. Not like this time.
Yeah.
Okay. And talking about this time, okay, last time did you get interview calls as well for some of the B schools and gave the interviews or not?
Yeah. So I didn't register for a lot of colleges last year. So I basically registered for all the IIMs and a few IITs. And I got all the calls except the old 6 IIMs.
Okay. And did you converted any of them?
Yeah, I converted IIM Udaipur, Sambalpur, Jammu, and a few other new IIMs.
Okay. So mostly new IIMs and any of the IITs?
No, I couldn't convert any of that.
Okay. So that is great. You left all those new IIMs, right?
Yeah.
For this attempt. So you were like somewhere in your heart, you were sure that you will get a good percentile this year as well,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, I paid my IIM Udaipur fees also.
Oh,
And yeah, I withdrew it just like 2 to 3 days before the deadline. And I
oh,
decided to go for one more category.
okay, okay. And when did you started to prepare for this year CAT attempt? And how did you start it?
Yeah. So this year I started my preparation around the time of April, May, that time. After the calls were done, and I had like for 100% sure decided that I'd be going for one more CAT attempt. And like last year, I had covered all my concepts, like for QA, VARC, as well as DILR. I had covered all my concepts properly last year. So I knew that I didn't have to put so much effort on that again. And I could focus on mainly practice and solving questions. So
Okay,
I started around April, May, and I started giving the mocks from June. Yeah.
okay, okay. So let's discuss about your strategy in the detail. So we will basically go section wise. Okay. So first,
Okay.
let us start from VARC, and that is not one of your strong part, I guess,
Yeah.
right? So let's start from the VARC. So
Yeah.
tell us
I
your
think
whole strategy.
Yeah, I think VARC will be every engineer's nightmare. Like it
Yes,
could go
yes.
either way in the
The
exam,
same
right?
goes for me as well.
Yeah. So VARC, my main issue was my reading speed. So I come from a background where I don't usually speak in English with my friends or family, or I didn't read any like very complicated books during my undergraduate or during my school years as well. So my reading speed was very bad. So I had to put a lot of effort into it. And I started reading, all these articles and editorials from the same sources where CAT takes their RCs.
Okay. You
Yeah,
can
like,
mention the source that will be better for viewers.
yeah. So from what I can remember right now, New York Times, Washington Post, and Eon, if you're aware of that, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So those three, and recently they've started picking articles from Indian sources as well. So I
Yes.
went through some of those as well, those also.
Okay, okay, okay.
And
And
I did this very regularly. I couldn't manage daily, but at least 4 to 5 times a week, every day, I used to read these articles.
okay, okay. And other than reading, did you work on your grammar, vocabulary, or any of the verbal ability part other than reading comprehension?
No, from what I felt, right, doing the previous year's papers, I got this feeling that CAT doesn't specifically test our vocabulary, and they're more interested in how we can think and how we can answer those questions without using like very complicated words. But at the same time, it's important to focus on basic vocabulary, but not go too much into detail for that.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so moving on to the next section. I think, and you can also, if you can tell your last year scores in VARC, last year percentile and this year percentile, so that our viewers get to know that what was the improvement.
Yeah, so actually there was no improvement in VARC.
Okay, okay,
Last year I got 98.53 percentile, and
okay,
this year I scored 97.93.
okay, okay, okay. So last year also, did you prepare for VARC or not?
Yeah, last year I put more effort into VARC compared to DILR and K. Actually,
And
that is true for both the years, but
okay,
yeah, as I said, right, that was my weak section, so I had to put that effort there.
okay, okay. So moving on to the next section, that is LRDI, and LRDI, as I say, is the toughest section of the CAT. And
Yeah.
it is true for most of the students. So how did you approach that? And you are one of the top, I think you have got 99.9 plus in LRDI.
Yeah.
So how did you manage to get that?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say that LRDI is my favorite section. Not, I wouldn't say strongest, but it is my favorite section to solve. So that interest has always been there from the start. And if you're interested in something, right, it becomes easier to prepare for that section.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So where I started was I saw the previous year's sets, and I got a basic idea that what might come, and I segregated them into like different types of questions. Example, in DI data interpretation, it could be something like bar graphs or pie charts or some logical reasoning mixed with DI. And same for logic for LR, it could be like grouping, ordering, or something like
Diagram set or arrangement set. Right.
yeah. So
Okay.
I identified these first. Then I started taking mocks from various sources.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I specifically focused on solving different types of these questions. Like I didn't solve like 10 questions from DI and leave out LR. So that is one thing you need to make sure. The mocks which you take has all types of these questions,
Okay.
so that whatever comes in CAT, you should be ready.
Okay. Okay. So basically, you solved previous year questions and the mock questions specifically, right?
Yeah.
And also focused on each of the section in the DI and each of the section in the LR, so that each type of
Correct.
questions can be prepared, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that will be all. And also tell us your score. Like last time you scored in LRDI and this time.
Last time, I think I scored about 98.5 percentile,
Okay.
and this time it was 99.9.
Okay. 99.9. That is great. That is great. Okay. Okay. So moving on to next section, and that I say is the easiest, at least for engineers.
Yeah.
So moving on to quantitative ability. So how did you approach that section? And I know that that would have been little easier, but still, what was your approach?
Yeah. So Quant is, I would say it is the easiest section to improve in. Like, it doesn't matter if you're good at it or if you're average at it. It's easier to improve than VARC and DILR because it's just formulas and application.
Yes, sure.
Okay, right. So Quant, what I did was the main place where I had to focus was covering all the 20 plus questions which they ask in 40 minutes. Like, I made sure that I had a strategy in place where I could at least attempt all the 22 questions in those 40 minutes, so that if any easy questions are there at the end, I wouldn't leave them out. So what I did was I went about the section in 2 rounds. So in the first round, I would attempt all the questions I was like definitely sure I can get the answer to, and which would take me less than like a minute or minute and few seconds to answer. So that would be like around 10 to 15 questions of the 22,
Okay.
and that I would do it in about 25 to 30 minutes. And the last 15 minutes, I would come back from the beginning again and solve all the questions which were left out. So
Okay.
basically, my plan was to answer at least 20 questions of the like whatever number was asked, and ensure that I had a competitive score.
Okay. 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 And what was your last year percentile and this year percentile for QA section?
Yeah, so last year I scored around 98.3,
Okay.
and this year I got 99.75.
Okay. That is a huge improvement, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And last year also, your level was same in the QA, but that was strategy, I guess, that made a difference.
Yeah, like basically last year, that was my mistake. I left some very easy questions that I could have solved because of the time limit.
Okay, okay. So moving ahead, I know that clearing each of the section and just completing the concepts matter a lot, but I believe that in the CAT, taking mocks and building a strategy to like building a test, taking a strategy matters more. So I will like to talk more about how, like, when did you start to take mocks and how you take the mocks and what was your strategy, like when the section mocks, when the full length mocks, and how did you analyze them to maximize your score?
Yeah. So I started taking mocks around June, like as I said. And the important thing to keep in mind is uh, apart from the number of mocks we solve, right, we should ensure that they are of a good quality and a lot of and they have a good number of people taking those mocks.
Yes, right.
So I picked mocks from Oliveboard and a few other good sources, and I researched a lot actually from where to get these mocks, and finally I decided those sources. And one more important thing, like I would ask everyone to do is mocks are basically a time where you can experiment your attempt strategy. So not one strategy works for everyone, and you need to find the best one which works for you. And this is something that you have to come up with during mocks and the early mocks actually as well,
Yes.
because the final mocks, right, 1 or 2 months before actual CAT, you need to have that final strategy already in place and make sure it actually works on these mocks. And coming to the analysis of mocks, so they the mocks which you take, they will have a key answer part at the end. Like after the mock window closes, they'll
Yes.
release the answers. Everyone does that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So what I would advise people is, before checking those answers, the questions which you have got wrong, you try to solve it on your own. Doesn't matter how much extra time it takes. Like doesn't matter if a QA question takes half an hour, but you have to try it once before checking the answer.
Yes.
And
Yes.
same goes for DILR sets. Like doesn't matter if it takes 30 minutes to solve a set, but give it a try. And finally, if nothing you do works, or if the solution is just not coming to you, then only I would suggest you to check the solution.
Okay,
And
so since you gave like many of the mocks, other than Oliveboard mocks, also you have subscribed to other mock series as well. So how many in total mocks have you given, sectional as well as the full time?
I would say around 50 full-time mocks
Okay,
and 20 sectional mocks for each section.
okay, 20 for each. That is a good number, I think, because it takes a large time to not just give the mock but to analyze them, right?
Yeah.
So how much time do you usually give to analyze a mock?
Okay, so in the beginning, like when the coaching institutes were not sure whether the CAT paper this year will come in 2 hour or 3 hour pattern, so they used to give a combination of both of those.
Yes.
And for analyzing the 2 hour mock, I used to take about 1.5 hour to 3 hours, based
Okay.
on like how I did in the mock. Like if I got more questions wrong, obviously it took more time. And if I did well and solved most of the questions correctly, I would be done with the analysis in about an hour or hour and a half.
Okay, okay. And personally, I believe that analyzing the mock is even more crucial than just giving the mock. So I think you also believe the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
general thumb rule is, if you give a 2 hour mock, you need to spend 2 hours to analyze it. If you did average in that.
okay, okay. Now we are done with the mock strategy. Now coming to your cat attempt. Since you attempted the cat and however, like whatever be the number of mocks we are giving, but in the cat there will be one anxiety inside us, and there again we will make mistakes in the cat as well. Right? So, what was your slot in the CAT, and how did you attempted that particular slot? What was your strategy? Since we get to know the number of questions on the day of CAT only, and I think if your was slot 2, then you get to know only just 1 or 2 hours before your slot, right? So, how did you manage that, and how did you build a strategy out of that?
Yeah. So first of all, we got to know that it's a 2 hour format long back.
Yes, yes.
So I was expecting definitely less than the number of questions that came last year, and just a little bit less, and around 22 to 24 questions in each section. So CAT this year, actually they went even lower. They gave only 20 questions in DILR, and the main problem there was they gave only 4 sets.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So okay, so I got slot 2 this year. same as
Yes.
last year.
Actually, we can go section wise. So
Yeah,
since you was slot
that
2,
would
then
be
we
good.
can start from VRC and then
Okay. So, yeah, first of all, I was thankful for not getting slot 1 because, I go to the test and it's a surprise there,
yes,
the
yes,
number
yes.
of questions. And we got the information around 1 hour before regarding the number of questions, the number of sets in DILR, and the number of RCs in VRC, and the split up basically of each section. So I came up with a basic idea of what I would do in that 1 hour. So, like as I said before, my VRC reading speed was not very good. So I
Okay.
decided to skip an entire RC. There
Okay.
are actually 4 RCs in VRC, right?
Yes, yes. The
Yeah,
number of questions were like more than the earlier.
yeah. So I decided to skip 1 RC, attempt 3 RCs, and in VA, my plan was to attempt all the questions, but I couldn't confirm definitely that I've attempted all of them because time ran out at the end and I had to guess a few answers. And
Okay.
I could guess them because they were type in a type of answers and there was no negative marking.
Yes, yes. There were mainly data questions in VA, and those questions were easier as well as compared to RC because RC this time was very hard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
RC, it was hard this year and it was hard last year also. So there was no change in that.
Yes.
And VA was a little bit easier, as you said. So overall, the VRC scores increased for the same percentile as last year.
Okay, okay, okay. And moving ahead, going to LRDI.
Yeah. So LRDI was the biggest curveball that I think aspirants faced this year because they reduced an entire set. So this year there were only 2 sets of 4 questions each and 2 sets of 6 questions each.
Yes, yes.
And the problem is if 3 sets are easy and 1 set is difficult, and you solve all the easy sets and even have like 15-20 minutes left at the end and can't solve the difficult set, that will be a huge down point for you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so that is exactly what happened to me in the exam.
Okay.
So slot 2 DILR was extremely easy compared to slot 1 and slot 3. And I answered 3 sets in 25 minutes. And
Okay.
I had.
And which of the sets did you pick? Like, if you can just remember them. I
I'm
think you.
sorry, I can't.
Okay, okay. You would have done those 4 question set. I think
Yeah, I did both the 4 question set and a 6 question set at the beginning. And I
okay.
had one 6 question set left for the last 15 minutes.
Okay, okay. And
So,
even
yeah,
then, it was
so
not solved, right? Even in the end.
correct. And what would happen is, since the slot is easy, the normalized score will go down by a lot, by
Yes, yes.
about 4 to 5 marks. So I would end up suffering in that. So I started solving the last 15 minutes of the paper. I started solving the set, and 10 minutes in, I couldn't do anything. Like I
Yes, yes.
didn't
I
even
know
have a
that
basic idea.
basically those 3 sets were on the easier side that could
Yeah,
have been done in those 40 minutes, but one set was little bit on tougher side. That was not
correct.
even to be solved in the exam.
Yeah. So 10 minutes, I worked on that set, the tough set, and I couldn't come up with anything.
Okay.
And last 5 minutes, I knew that I had to do something. Otherwise, I will definitely have to give one more CAT attempt if I can't do anything. So I came up with a partial solution. I made a few guesses, calculated guesses, and I came up with a partial solution. And I marked 4 answers.
Okay.
And finally, all those 4 answers turned out to be right. And I missed out only
That's
two
great.
answers.
So luck
But
is always there.
but the problem is in the 3 sets which I had solved earlier, 2 questions went wrong and I ended
Okay.
up losing 8 marks.
Okay. 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 So overall, it went like you got only the marks for those 3 sets only, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so moving ahead, coming to QA, like if I remember correctly, in the slot 2, the QA was little lengthy, and it was like not expected that way because everyone, even I was expecting QA to be easier because I am Ahmedabad, always take care of the non-engineers, but this time it was different. So how did you face that?
Yeah. So like I said before, right? In all of my mocks, I had never solved less than 20 questions in any QA paper.
Okay.
And when I saw this CAT paper, like I knew that touching 20 questions would be out of the question for me.
So that
Like,
was the 100 percentile, I guess.
yeah, yeah. And most of the, like, they had a good number of questions from arithmetic this year. And that is I would say my like weak area in QA. And
Okay.
like, that's why I had to spend more time on those questions. And what I did was I gave less time to my round one. I solved about 10 questions in round one in 25 minutes. And the last 15 minutes, I touched every hard question. Like, I tried every hard question and I could answer 6 of them. So total, I attempted 16 questions. And at that time, I thought this would be a very low score, because I
Okay.
didn't know the paper was this hard, right? So
Yes. Yes.
I thought this would be a very low score. So I was actually disappointed back then. But finally, I ended up getting 15 of those 16 questions right, and decent
That
pass
is a
mark.
good accuracy as well, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, that is great. That is great. So now that you are done with CAT, now comes the next stage. That is, I think, the most crucial stage, more important that than the CAT itself. So, which B school, if you are given a choice, you are planning to join, and what do you want to do, like in your MBA and after your MBA?
Okay. So which B school? Everyone would go for IIM Ahmedabad, right, if given the chance.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, or Calcutta, any one of those. I would
Okay.
be like extremely happy to convert them. And during my MBA, I want to take marketing as a specialization,
Okay.
because I feel that I have the most to learn from marketing, and I would like to try for a product management role in one of the top tech companies.
Okay, okay, okay. So you are looking for product management. You are now a software engineer, so I think it is easier for software engineers to like dwell into product management roles. Okay, so like we are just concluding the session. So in the end, I want you to give some message to our viewers so that they like basically about your journey, like how did you, because in the last attempt also you managed to get IIM Udaipur, and then in the end you left that, then you started again all over, and you then scored that much good. So what was like anything that you would like to, like, to motivate them basically?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say there is no replacement for hard work. Hard work is compulsory in anything like you do in life, and hard work beats talent every time. You know, every time someone puts in effort. So I would advise like everyone to put in that effort and make sure like you're also interested in doing like what you're aiming for, and not just go for the result. So you should be interested in the process. That is a very important thing I've learned from my CAT preparation. So basically, like during my entire journey, right, while giving the mocks and while preparing the concepts, I was interested in those concepts which I was learning, and it helped me a lot. And I feel that is the biggest motivator anyone can have. If you're interested in doing something, you will do it well.
Okay, okay, okay. So I think this will be all. If there is anything that you would like to tell our viewers, and thank you for coming to this session and just motivate our viewers, because some of them are just starting their CAT 2022 preparation. So they really need you to just like motivate them and tell them that no, you can do better. Okay, so thank you, Vishal, and we will have more interactions if our viewers like this. Okay, so
Yeah,
thank you.
sure. Thanks for having. Yeah, one last thing I would like to say is,
You say please.
uh, yeah, so there'll be some points in your journey where you feel that I won't do well in CAT. So don't let that affect you too much. It will definitely affect you, but don't let it get to your head. Have some friends who are not preparing for CAT as well, and make sure like you interact with them regularly, so you don't lose touch with whatever is happening outside.
Yes,
Basically,
yes.
don't make CAT preparation your entire life. It's important to have hobbies and some extracurriculars as well to distract whenever you're feeling down.
Yes, yes. CAT is basically just a part of life, not just whole life, right?
Exactly.
Okay, okay, okay. So I think that will be all. Thanks again. And
Thank you.
now I think you can. Thank you.